yesterday's video right here, we talked about how the NFL is showing a lot of optimism in Michael Penix and the Falcons given all the primetime games they got. But I want to build off of that in today's episode and look at some more optimism surrounding Michael Penix and how the NFL is making a big gamble on the Falcons this year. But quick scheduling announcement, this Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern, it will be my last live show on Falcons Today as I'm bringing my time to this company and channel an end. So if you have not joined a live show before, I highly recommend you do so. And if you're a frequent flyer at our live shows, I look forward to seeing all of your beautiful faces Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern. Now, let's get back on track here with the topic of today's video, all about the gamble that the NFL is making on the Falcons and I guess specifically Michael Penix, because 6 games for the Falcons this year in standalone spots. Week 2 against the Vikings on Sunday night, back-to-back primetime games against the Bills and the Niners, and then they got against the Colts in Germany, and then the Buccaneers and Rams towards the end on Thursday and Monday Night Football. Schefter noted that the National Football League is saying, bring on Michael Penix and what he could do. Penix to Drake London, Penix to Darnell Mooney, to Bijan Robinson. It was fun to watch. The league is in for more. Then we got Mark Ross from the NFL Network on the Insiders talking about maybe Michael Penix is going to light it up and be an MVP-type candidate and have a resurgence with the Dirty Birds down there. So a lot of optimism right now surrounding the Falcons and specifically Michael Penix, because you don't make that type of investment when it comes to primetime slots if you don't believe in the quarterback. You don't do that because, they got a pretty good defense, and I think that special teams unit of theirs is not too shabby either. No, the NFL and the decision makers, because they want to maximize every single primetime game, right? They want to get as many eyeballs on Monday, Sunday, and Thursday Night Football so that when those TV contracts are up, they've got great ratings to go back to those networks and say, we'd like this much now. And if you're not willing to pay it, someone else is. And we've seen that happen now as Netflix and Amazon Prime and Peacock have dipped their toe in the NFL game stream. Even YouTube is going to do a game week 1 in Brazil this year. So the NFL decision makers do not mess around with who gets to play in primetime. They do not spin a wheel like we do at the end of the video and go, we got Falcons and Jags. That should be a good week 2 Sunday night game. No. They are making a very expensive investment, if you will, in the primetime teams. One they want to get right. And they are doing this because they believe in Michael Penix. And you should too. A recent interview came out from the quarterback coach in Atlanta, TJ Yates, talking about Michael Penix. And while it's mid to late May right now, there's not a lot of groundbreaking, pressing news out there. Everyone say, cough to Reed. He's been dying in the background right now. The excitement from the coaching staff for Penix is hard to ignore. Here's what Yates recently said about Penix. And it's not like a typical rookie quarterback where he doesn't have a lot of skill around. We've got a lot of awesome weapons around him aside from Michael's talent. So we're extremely excited about where this offense can go. TJ, you should be. Look at the first-round talent here. Penix, Robinson, London, Pitts. Now, I'm old enough to remember when Atlanta had a first-rounder starting at every single position on offense. Did not result in a boatload of wins. But between those skilled 5 guys right there and an offensive line that I would argue is top 10, and it's closer to 5 than 10, there is no reason for this offense not to be one of the best in the NFL this year. And the Falcons should absolutely be psyched and stoked for Penix because of a few reasons. But let's focus on 2 to narrow it down. One, like Yates just said, it's not like he is going to be a rookie surrounded by a bunch of plumbers and electricians. It's a lot of really good first-round talent on offense and an awesome, sturdy offensive line. That's one big reason. And then the second big reason, and the most important reason, is you believe in Penix being the guy, then it doesn't really matter how good the talent around him is. If you're that good of a quarterback, you'll elevate everyone else. But in a perfect world, you check both boxes. You have the talent at receiver, running back, and offensive line, and your quarterback is the guy. And while we didn't have a lot to go off last year to see if whether or not Penix was NFL starting quarterback material, he played one half of the preseason, and then we saw him play 3 games and a little bit of pocket change in the regular season. But Yates did have this quote, which really jumped out to me. There's a couple of things about those 3 games where it's just his ability to manipulate defenders with his eyes. How he saw the entire picture was kind of set in stone for all of us. Like, all right, we got a guy here. When I read that, you could look at it as, oh, that's a coach gassing up his player. Get in line, best shape of life season happens to all 32 teams. But I felt like he was being honest when he said, we got a guy here. And I've listened to so many countless interviews of players where the interviewer says, how quickly did you know if that quarterback was the guy? And so often they say, we can usually tell in about 2 or 3 weeks. During training camp and preseason, we can get a good idea. Sometimes it bleeds into the regular season, but the team tends to know way quicker if they really have something versus the media. And I think the reason is the media reaches that conclusion, good or bad, if they get that done by the 3rd week of the preseason. They're going to run out of shit to talk about by the 3rd week of the regular season if they can no longer debate whether or not he's a good or bad quarterback. So I believe Yates when he says that. And I believe that Penix has the skill set to be great. We don't have a lot to go off of from last year. There's some nice throws he had. I mean, his second throw of his entire NFL career was a bomb down the sideline against the Broncos. It was right on the money. He had an incredible throw against the Panthers in Week 18 on the sideline to London. But if you really zoom in on what's a very, smallish sample size, just 3 weeks where he started, week 16 to 18, not too shabby. Finished top 10 in total yards. Intended air yards is he threw it on average 10.1 yards down from the line of scrimmage. Now, completed or not is a different stat, but he was pushing the ball down the field with a nice 10.1 average depth of target from the line of scrimmage. Then he was second in completed air yards, not just dinking and dunking and letting his running backs or yards after they catch do the rest. No, he was really throwing the ball down the field. And third in yards per completion. You want someone who can actually, not just go for the big play, but be successful in it. Anyone can just drop back and throw it 30 yards down the field to green grass or out of bounds and go, yeah, but at least I'm trying to get the big play. You want someone who's trying to swing for the fences, but it's also going to smash some taters as well. And Penix, in small sample size, showed a willingness to go for the big play, right? Rip off a big piece of that steak. And also chew it too. Finishing first in average depth of target and third in yards per completion. I'm very encouraged by what we saw from Penix last year. The glimpses we got, they were exciting. And I feel that with the second half of this Penix kind of breakdown in terms of him having the skill set to be great and us getting some glimpses of it paired with everything else on offense. His running back, his receivers, his offensive line. All that together, and I can understand why the NFL is willing to make this gamble on the Falcons. They would love for the Atlanta market to be successful. And they are seeing what I'm seeing, which is this has the makings of a high-powered offense that's going to be fun to watch on Sunday and Monday Night Football. I'll also add one more thing to kind of just put a little cherry on top. Everything we saw from Penix last year was him running with the second-team offense the entire season. He didn't get runs with the first-team offense in practice. Not until they benched Kirk Cousins. They didn't flip-flop him and Cousins throughout the first 14 weeks of the season. So once he got to the regular season, He was hanging out with Casey Washington and Chris Blair. In 3 weeks, he had to quickly develop a connection with Drake London and Darnell Mooney. Now he goes into the entire offseason knowing he's the starter, and he's the guy running with the first-team offense and getting every single rep. To us, that may not seem very important because we don't get to see that with our own two eyes. But you just got to take my word for it when I tell you that is important. It is important to see the developed chemistry pan out on the field from weeks and months of these guys working out together and being in the same huddle in practice 6 days a week. So how many touchdowns for Michael Penix in 2025? The bar is 3. That's what he had last year. I think 17 games a season. Averages more than 1 touchdown a game. I think I initially tossed out 20. I'm going to bump that up. Give me 22 touchdowns for Penix, which may not seem like a ginormous number, but for it being his first real season as the starter from the jump, 22 touchdowns in 17 games. You pair, toss a bunch of Bijan touchdown and Algier touchdown runs in, you're going to have an offense that's going to put up some points. Before we sign off, we did get a couple of super thanks here on the channel. Super thanks like a YouTube tip jar, more or less. So if you want to get on screen and you want to support the channel, super thanks. We'll throw it out for everyone watching to see. Paul, congrats, Petey. I got back into the Falcons 2 years ago and have been watching the videos ever since. Gonna miss all the office quotes and references, and good luck in your new career field. Paul, I really appreciate not only your generous support and donation to the channel, but also your kind words. And believe me, I'm going to miss it as well because this has been such a fun and awesome job, and in large part because of the viewers like yourself. Then we got Macon Marty. Before you leave us, because you hate, I don't hate. JK, but I got to know, who is your favorite team to cover at Chat Sports? Be honest. This is not an uncommon question, so I never want to be dishonest with you guys, but it's a difficult question to answer as I hosted at my peak 3 different channels here at Chat Sports. I think the best answer I can give you is an honest answer, and the honest answer is, Macon, we didn't get off to a good start. And I saw Robert Smith, as I saw the super thanks, coincidentally, at the same time, tossed this in the comment section of a video saying, anyone remember when Thomas Mott left the channel and people were giving PD a hard time? So my favorite channel to cover, you want honesty, it sure as fuck was not Falcons Today for the first year. You guys ripped me a new asshole every video in the comment section. Now, I wasn't too butthurt about it because I understood the territory of if you're going to have a career online where you have an audience that can give you direct feedback like this, and you don't like that, then you're probably not in the right career field. But the first year, I just kind of soldiered through a little bit, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't human and I didn't see those comments said, you suck, and it's like, well, that's not very nice. So, was not Falcons Today to start, but I will be on it. Well, I'll speed up to present day and say, the shift has been very nice, as you guys have been much kinder to me as time has gone on. And as I walk out the doors of Chat Sports in a few days, I really do love the Falcons Today and the Browns Report audiences a ton, and the Broncos Breakdown audience as well, even though I passed that channel off to a new host here at Chat Sports. But Falcons Today, I feel like will always have a bit of a unique spot in my heart, given that so many of you hated my guts early on. And then there was, either they stopped watching or they changed their tune on me. So that to me showed a lot of personal growth to take people that didn't like what I was doing and try to get them to like me, which is kind of Michael Scotty. Do I want to be liked? Or do I need to be liked? You know what I mean? I have to be liked. It was nice to feel the gratitude of you guys enjoying the content I was putting out there. So, favorite team, right now I'd say it's an even tie, but that special spot in my heart for the, change you guys had on me as a host from the beginning to the end. All right, that will do it for us on today's show. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Remember, last live show is Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern. Be there.